Hey there, Ashes to Ruby's family. Jon and Eyob here. Welcome to the new year, 2025.
Wow.
Whenever the new year comes, I'm excited. There's some anxiety because of the expectation of gifts and money and all that stuff. This year, we tailored everything down. We have adult kids, so they're mature enough to deal with that. We're not getting toys and all the extras. So it was a pared down financially Christmas. And then just doing what we do at the brewery and stuff. We were shut down for 2 weeks. So there was a definitely different pattern. And then getting back to it was really exciting just recently in January. So what we want to talk about is the New Year's resolution. I've seen 100 videos already on like all the promises and the weight training. And I believe that the gym pass is famous for January. And if you've ever gone to the gym in January, I have done that. I have paid for memberships.
Yeah.
There is one membership that I like to clip near my bed, and I paid, it was $90 for 3 months, and that $90, I went to the gym once.
Wow.
And just as a reminder, do resolutions actually work? I think in the addiction recovery community, we can make a resolution and go, I'll never do that again. You know how many times I did that? And I did it again. And with me and my wife, some of the best arguments that we've got into in the last decade was me coming into New Year's, hearing the voice of God for my life, and then going like, I want to do these things. Like, this is my New Year's plan. And then I'm like, come on, wife, come on, Vicky, let's do this together. And I have this expectation, putting it on her, and it just never went well because I was making it all about me.
Yeah.
This is what I want, and I'm pushing that on you. So in the last couple of years, I've really got rid of the New Year's resolution. So that's kind of what we want to talk about. Do New Year's resolutions work? Does starting at a new year, is that really a good thing to do, a healthy thing to do? I think there's some tension in between. Like, it can be all right for some things. It can be all right for certain people. But have you done the resolution thing? And where do you stand on that?
Yeah, I'm anti-resolution.
Were you always anti-resolution? Or did this just, okay.
This came from years and years of frustration and not being able to follow through.
So kind of the same as my experience.
Yeah, okay. and felt the pressure and then having to deal with the guilt and the shame that was attached to it. It's so yucky.
And the guilt and the shame from failure?
From failure.
Or the guilt and the shame that you have to do this all the time?
Well, the pressure first.
The pressure.
And so then I would make this really extreme, that it was always extreme. And my wife would always say, you're never going to do this. So then I would do it, I'm dumb enough to sustain it for like 30 days or sometimes even 60 days. But it never lasts.
Yeah.
And so in the end, I was just lying to myself. And I was just, it's insanity. And so I came to this kind of realization of going, you know what, why am I even doing it? And I realized it was external pressure because for me, it's like an overcorrection from Christmas.
Okay.
So it's like, it's the season to be merry. So
let your hair blow back.
That's it. Eat all the cookies and eat all the pies, eat all that stuff and feeling really yucky. And so then it was almost like me paying penance. It was like, okay, so now I have to like do something. And often it wasn't coming from a place of revelation. Yeah. And I think that's what I'm realizing now. So this year, and I think that's what we've done for the past, is we've just basically sought out a word for the season. So my word for 2025 is deep.
Deep. Can I tell you my word?
Yes.
You already know my word. But I do the same thing. I just get a word for the year, kind of like a direction or just a word of encouragement. This year, my word was priesthood. And just what does that mean to be the mediator between God and man? So like I could be a priest at the grocery store and just like encouraging that I have this message inside of me of light and transformation. And so how do I get to be the mediator between that light and wherever I go? Wow. So that was just my encouragement this year.
That's profound. And I think, and this is the reason why I usually seek out a word, is I was thinking about the idea and the concept of everything, like in the story of Genesis, everything starts with a word. And I find that we all have seasons in our lives. So your season may look different from my season because whatever, he's working differently. And I think that's what I hate about resolutions.
Yeah.
Is that they're coming from an external place. They're not being motivated spiritually. They're not coming from God. And so when we go out there and seek a word from God for the season, it then sets kind of this beautiful order. It protects you. And so knowing that, okay, what does deep for me mean? Well, it comes from this passage where, Jesus sees the guys fishing and they've been fishing all night and they had caught nothing. And Jesus says to them, why don't you go out into the deep? And they're like, but we've been like fishing all night and we caught nothing, but at your word, we will do so. So there was an invitation to move out of the shallow waters, the familiar, the comfort and all that stuff, into a deep place, which is an unknown. Wow. And so that's the season God is calling me out to a deeper place, because I've lived in the shallow waters and I've been comfortable, have a certain level of control, even if it's not great. You're toiling. And so the season is deep. And what does that look like? So I need deeper relationships, not shallow relationships. I need to have a deeper relationship with God also, not a shallow relationship. I need to stop watching shallow shows on YouTube, or eating stuff that is not healthy for me. And so my wife's helping me with that. So that word now is really acting as a protection.
Okay.
So that's kind of where I'm at right now. And I get excited by that because now that word it's from God. And my job then is to obey it and walk that out and then bring either people and resources that I need to support me along the way. So I can go and tell people and say, hey, this is where I'm at. And people can actually now mentor me and support me along the way.
Very good. Yeah, that's why I had issues with my wife is I'm projecting on her like this is for you as well, and it's like we have different seasons, and God wants me to be shaped and molded in the image He wants, and it's so easy to be like, well, this is for you too, and troubles and storms, and only in the last 2 years I've chilled out. I'm going like, this is for me. I don't want to put this resolution even on myself. And you look at the core of addiction, one of the telltale signs that there is an addiction, something that you go to for a sense of ease and comfort, something that you're going to that you would rather not be doing, is the lack of control. So making a resolution of something that you can't actually do is just futility and insanity, and it's actually igniting the insanity of underlying issues. And so putting these resolutions in place, even like I'm going to stop doing marijuana, or I'm going to stop, I think the reality is I need to have a connection with God that's going to solve those problems. So I go to, like Jesus said to the lady at the well, like, I give you water that is everlasting. You'll never be thirsty again. That's a big deal. So instead of going to the shallow scrolling, or the shallow TV shows, or the overeating, or the lack of emotional security and financial, all those things that we're worried about, it's all rooted in a relationship with God outside of, like, in His love, where it was fear-based before. Now I have a relationship with God that's love-based, and it helps me not to be insecure, helps me not to be full of self-pity. It helps me not to be focused on my own, how I want the world to see me. And you had a good word. I wanted you to read what you had wrote.
Yeah, I just basically saying, like, this idea of living for an audience of one, rather. So, as we enter 2025, I'm reminded of where my focus should be. And it says, this is Colossians 1:10, and this is Paul's words. It really resonated with me. It says, do you think I'm trying to make people accept me, not God? No, God is the one I'm trying to please. Am I trying to please men? If I wanted to please men, I would not be a servant of Christ. So here's the truth of this one. It says, what I hate about resolutions is how surface level they often are. They're usually about external change motivated from the outside in. and they never last, as we just said. We set goals to lose weight, save money, or learn a new skill, but these resolutions often fizzle out because they fail to address what's happening in our hearts. So this year, instead of making another New Year's resolution, why not focus on one key priority that aligns your life with your purpose? So one phrase or one truth that becomes a guiding reminder of why you're here on this earth. So much of our time is wasted chasing goals that, while good, can cause us to miss what's most important. I did that for so long in my life. And Jesus put it this way, which is so profound. In Matthew 6, he says, surely isn't life more important than food, and the body more important than the clothes you wear? Look at the birds in the sky. They never sow, nor reap, nor store away in barns, yet your heavenly Father feeds them. So this is a line I said, I've never met a bird that sets a goal. Yeah, they accomplish exactly what they were designed to do. Birds don't worry or overthink. They live freely, trusting in their Creator's provision. So the question for you is, what if 2025 looked more like that for all of us, actually? A year not driven by anxiety, pressure, or outside validation, but by trust in God's plan. A year where we live for an audience of one, seeking to please God above else. Because here's the beautiful thing that I'm learning right now is that if I focus, that's the one big thing, I guess, then the outcome is that the other areas of my life where I'm obsessively trying to set goals like you were talking about, that becomes kind of a byproduct.
Yeah.
So then it's by revelation. I'm just talking to Leaf out there, and he has a word for this year. And I said, what's your word? He goes, balance. And I was like, why balance? He goes, I always try to do extreme things. So I'm going to judo twice a night or 3 times or whatever it is, but then I'm missing community. So then that gets in the way of my recovery. And I was like, wow. So when we are actually motivated by God, there's wisdom that's attached to it, and that brings order in our lives.
Yeah, and I think there's nothing wrong with planning and projections, especially in business and some of the things we're involved in. But can we just come into this new year with balance and going, I want to be better. I want to study more. I want to get to know people and have deeper relationships. And I just want to replace some of the things that I'm doing with more healthy things. And so then it's really coming into balance. And man, if there's things that you want to stop, that you're resoluting that you'll never do again, maybe it's an addiction and you have no power over it. So thank you for joining us. Happy New Year. If you are somebody that's looking for help from addictions and those kind of things, would you just give us a message? And we have the material to get you started. We have LifeLab diagnostic. We have the express version of the full LifeLab, and that will help you walk through really becoming the temple of God, really getting the promises that you can be free.
Amen.
So together we do recover. And thank you, Joe, for joining me. Eyob,
thank you.
Thank you for this new year, this new start, this fresh 2025. May be blessed in it, and we will see you soon.